Hello everyone, I've been a painting contractor for 25 years and the goal of this channel is to help make painting at home simple. For all of you do-it-yourselfers out there looking for professional results and wanting to save some money. So thanks for watching and please like and subscribe. We want to help as many people as we can. Thanks again. Okay, what we're going to do today in this room is we're going to prep the walls and get the room ready to paint. We're going to begin by covering up all the trim. The trim was just painted, it was sprayed. If you have an existing house where the trim was all done and brushed, we want to make sure we cover up the trim. We use a paper masker on the base. We use a paper masker on windowsills and to cover up ahead for any splatter, any drips off of a paint roller. And I'm just going to walk you through real quick how we do that. So I have a dust brush here and I just want to go and I want to get the base dusted off. And then this just comes right off in small sections at a time. It's a 1-inch piece of tape. And I'm just going to go ahead and follow the nice clean line all the way down and make a nice straight line with the tape and the masker. We're going to do that all around the room. We're going to cover all the base up and then I'm going to show you here how I do the windows and the doors. So this is going to go back into the last section, and if you just see all the way down, we have a nice straight line. Okay, we're going to go around the room and do that with all the base, but on the sides of the casings, we're going to do something that we use in all of our homes. This is green frog tape. It's 1-inch tape. Now you can buy 1.5 inch, you can get 2-inch. The larger the size, the more difficult it gets to manipulate for a straight line. So we use the 1-inch, and what we do is we just get right up to the edge of the casing here, and we make a nice straight line, and then we overlap. And I do longer pieces because I've been doing this for a while, but you can do shorter pieces. And the idea is that we want to just follow the line of the trim all the way up and down the wall. And then when we roll close, we're going to have our cut line. We're going to roll right into the cut line and overlap it and get real close to this casing. What we do, stay there, is you can do two things. We have situations where if we're using a really dark color, we'll come back and take the masker and we'll do an extra cover just to really make sure we don't get any splatter on our nice clean trim. That's one way to do it. Another thing we do is we'll take a roll of 1.5 inch cheap white tape and we'll put it right over the frog tape, just like that. And then we'll go and do this or this, depending on the color we're using on the walls. So we get that extra protection and we can bring the roller right up close to the trim then. We'll take this in steps. We'll go ahead and get the room all covered up and we'll check back in. All right, so here we are, the next step of the process. I want you to look around and see that we've gone ahead and we've masked all the trim and the woodwork with our masker on the bottom and windows, and we've went ahead and done our green frog tape 1-inch on the sides. And look right here, we got a nice straight line from top to bottom, and then we put the white tape over it so we can work our roller into the casing. And you'll see more of that later when we get to the walls. But right now I want to talk about what I got right here is a pole sander. This is the product that we use to start the prep on the walls. It's a nice sander. It's got 150 grit sandpaper on it. That's the grit we use for pole sanding our walls. When we paint our walls, when they're all done, we want them to be nice and smooth. So we got to sand them, and then we're going to fix them, any imperfections, holes, and cracks, and things like that. So it's pretty simple. This is what we're going to do. Real light pressure, up and down. And we'll just start on one side, and we'll work it all the way down to the other side. And we're going to do this to all the walls. I'm going to go up and down. We're not pushing too hard. We're putting just the right amount of pressure on here. And once you get the rhythm down, you can go a little faster if you want. what that ends up being is a good workout. And we're gonna go around the whole room and do that, and we'll check back in for the next step. Okay, next step. We have sanded all of our walls. They're nice and smooth. There's no bad stuff on them. There's no roughness. It's all nice and smooth, okay? I'm gonna show you some examples now of what we run into with walls when we wanna fix them. We're gonna use our 3M high strength small hole repair spackle. And I use this stuff for everything. It's got primer mixed into it. It's real easy to spread. We're gonna use when we use a putty knife, make sure it's a flexible one. You wanna make sure that you can have a little bit of flexibility when we're spackling. Right up here, if you can come in, we have a hole right there. It's an indent on the wall. What we do is I'll take a light and I have it on a cord and I'll go up and down the wall like this. And I'll look for imperfections. And I'll try to find spots that need to be spackled. But for this purpose, we'll start right here and I'll go ahead and I'll fill that hole. Now I can fill it with the spackle flush. I know I have to put another coat on that because it's a little deep. So to make it perfect, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna come back with my 150 grit sandpaper and I'm gonna sand that real lightly and then I'm gonna put another coat over that. Now here's an example right here of a crack in the wall, okay? And stay right there on that crack. I don't know if you can zoom in, but when we have a crack like this, sometimes we take and we make a little bit of a valley. We wanna, instead of a hard, sharp crack, we wanna make a valley. Take the edge of your 5-in-1 and real lightly make that a little bit more open. That way the spackle has room to fill and it's gonna end up doing a better job than if you just ended up filling it with just the razor thin crack that it was. All right. We like to put it on and we like to leave it just a little heavy, not real heavy, but just a little bit on there so that when we come back, we have to sand it down smooth and flush. If we feel we need another coat, we'll sand it down after the fact. And then what we have over here is we have an example where the drywallers had left some mud on the wall. And so that's, if you can see that spot, that's an example. We would just simply take our knife and scrape that off. Okay, and then before I spackle that, I'm going to take my 150 grit sandpaper and sand that area smooth. And then I'm going to fill it with spackle. And again, I have my flexible knife. And if you put it on, not too heavy, you'll have just enough to sand down and leave it nice and smooth for when we're ready to come back and paint. So we're gonna go around this room and we're gonna go ahead and spackle all of the imperfections that we see, cracks and nicks and dings, and then we're gonna come back and sand them down and we'll check in at that moment.